Hello everyone, my name is Dika Romadhona, Slamet Budi Kusuma, and my student number is 832-022-0010. And today I want to present to you guys about the procedure of English material development. So pay attention to me please, and let's grab it up. First, let me tell you about 5 procedures in English material development. The first is selecting material, and the second is grading materials. Then continue to adapting materials. After that, there is evaluation material, and at last, designing material. First, I want to explain to you what selecting materials is about. So according to Koningsford in 1995, selection material is the process of choosing teaching material that match learners' needs, teaching goals, and learning context. And based on Harmer 2001 explanation, material selection should consider relevance, appropriateness, and learner interests, aiming to motivate and support language acquisition. Based on the case article that given in the drive, the teacher generally pay attention to the student interests in developing teaching material, and this condition affect student learning interests. And then the example of selecting material is that for example, intermediate learner focusing on inference skill, like a short story with clear context and subtle plot developments may be selected. In addition, the cultural appropriateness and familiarity of the content are considered to ensure that learners can connect with the materials. So the process of selecting English reading materials should be based on learners' proficiency levels, learning objectives, relevance, and interests, cultural appropriateness, text authenticity, and the potential for critical engagement to ensure effective and meaningful reading experience. Secondly is grading materials. So based on what Graves explained about in 1996, grading is the process of organizing language content by difficulty or logical sequence, making learning more manageable. Also, according to Armour in 1983, grading involves sequencing materials to align with learners' developmental and cognitive stages for optimal understanding. Based on the article that given, we found that the case of in that material is that the materials were poorly graded. Students found text and tasks either too difficult or irrelevant. Also, most teachers agreed content did not support desired learning outcomes. So there is an example of grading English material process. For example, that if we are met with the beginner level learners, material should use a basic vocabulary, simple sentence structures, and familiar topics. Teacher may include pictures, repetition, and clear formatting to support understanding. As well as the intermediate level, there should be slightly different, like it should be advanced more and more difficult than the beginner level. So, basically, learners are ready for more varied sentence structures, slightly more advanced vocabulary, and texts that introduce new ideas while still offering support through glossaries or pre-reading questions. So, and the point is, grading English material should be aligned with learners' proficiency levels, using simplified language and strong visual support for beginners, moderately complex structures, and guided support for intermediate learners, and authentic text with rich vocabulary and abstract themes for advanced learners to ensure comprehension, engagement, and progressive language development. Also, the third is fun adapting materials. According to McDonald, in 2013, adaptation is the process of modifying existing materials to better suit learners' needs, culture, and context. According to Tomlinson and Masuhara in 2018, material adaptation means adding, omitting, simplifying, or reordering content to improve learning effectiveness. The case that we found in the article is that the teacher frequently added and modified content. Adaptation improved relevance and learning outcomes, but challenges included lack of training and time, localized examples, help engagement. So an example of adapting material is that a teacher might take an authentic magazine article that is too complex for intermediate learners and simplify it without losing the core message. This could involve shortening paragraphs, replacing advanced vocabulary with more familiar words, breaking down long sentences, and adding definition or visuals to aid comprehensions. The teacher might also adjust the content to be more culturally relevant or age appropriate for the students, such as replacing names, places, or situations with ones they can relate to. Additionally, comprehension questions and follow-up tasks can be adapted to match learners' language abilities, shifting from open-ended analytical questions to multiple choice or true or false formats. And the point is, adapting English material involves modifying existing contents such as simplifying language, adjusting cultural references, and tailoring activities to ensure the material is accessible, relevant, and appropriate for learners' levels and needs without losing its original educational purpose. And then evaluating materials. According to Koningsort in 1995, evaluation is judging the suitability of material for a particular group in a specific context. Also, according to Ellis, 1997, evaluation involves systematic assessments of materials effectiveness using criteria like relevance, clarity, and coverage of language skills. The case that we found in the article is that we found poor alignment with student needs, limited grammar, general topics, and undeveloped skill, not suitable for hospitality students. Also, the example to evaluating English material involves assessing how well a resource fits learner needs, curriculum goals, and teaching context. For instance, a teacher reviewing a textbook considers factors like age appropriateness, language level, skill focus, clarity, and visual appeal. They might test in class and gather feedback. If the material is too complex, outdated, or irrelevant, it can be adapted, supplemented, or replaced. Evaluating English materials involves analyzing their relevance, language level, content quality, and effectiveness in meeting learners' needs and curriculum goals to ensure they support meaningful and appropriate language learning outcomes. And then the last crucial thing about the procedure of English material development is designing materials. Based on Noonan in 1991, designing involves creating content aligned with syllabus goals, focusing on authenticity, skill integration, and learner engagement. According to Tomlinson in 1998, material should be based on pedagogic principles including learner-centeredness, meaningful context, and learning outcomes. The case that we found in the article is that the teacher has already emphasized clear goals, authentic content, and integration of input language focus and tasks. So the design must involve trials and stakeholder input. And the example of designing English material is that designing material means creating original content suited to learners' goals, needs, and context. For example, a teacher designing a unit on climate change for intermediate student might write a level appropriate reading text, include pre-reading and comprehension questions, and add follow-up tasks like discussion or writing the process. Also considers layout, cultural relevance, and integrating skills like reading and speaking. The point is, designing English materials involves creating original, level appropriate contents that align with learners' goals and context while incorporating clear structure, cultural, cultural relevance, and integrated language skills to ensure meaningful and engaging learning experience. To sum it up, effective English language teaching requires a thoughtful process that includes selecting appropriate material based on learners' needs, grading content to match proficiency levels, adapting existing resources for accessibility and relevance, evaluating materials for quality and alignment with learning goals, and designing original content that integrates language skills, cultural context, and clear learning objectives. These steps that material are both engaging and pedagogically effective. I think that's all from me. Thank you for paying attention to me and have a good one. God bless.